So, episode whatever one this is for, and I had a really interesting day today as well. A few things that I should talk about that I think people will be interested in if they want to know a few things about China. So, I'll start off by saying that, as I've previously alluded to, I go for runs because this is sort of a fitness retreat in the morning, 4 5 a.m. generally. And the first day I didn't notice it so much because I do different districts to obviously incorporate seeing the city by night into my running jaunts. And the second and third day, the smells that I was getting were ridiculously strong. It was sort of like a chemical pesticide smell, and it seemed to be everywhere in the city, either drifting with the fucking current of the wind or what I thought initially it might have been, which is the pesticides that they spray on all the plants and the fauna, because there's a lot of emphasis here in China with new development projects, which is a nice thing, of making them seem comfortable. So there's a lot of emphasis placed on green spaces, boulevards with just flowers and trees, etc., which I have to say aesthetically and just in terms of a living environment is fantastic. But there's always a suspicion of, well, how can you sort of create an environment which is so weed free? Obviously, there's a labour force that go around sweeping roads and stuff, but not to the extent that you could de-weed every part of these green spaces, and they really encapsulate a lot of the city. So obviously, pesticides have to be used or are being used, not have to be used. And so I was getting these crazy smells, man, and it makes sense as well because, of course, if you're going to do it, you're going to do it when no one's awake. So 4 or 5 a.m., the city is desolate. There's not a single person on the streets, and all this stuff is basically being sprayed, and I was inhaling it. You can't really avoid it when everywhere's a green space, and yeah, it's some of the strongest chemicals I've smelled. And I actually brought it up with where I'm staying, the receptionist, and I was just in a coffee shop, which is part of this video. Really, really nice coffee shop, and there was a guy and his wife, and they both spoke decent enough English. So I was chatting away to him for like 2.5 hours, distracting him from his work because the coffee shop aligned to a sort of a print shop as well. So it's sort of a place where students come and print their work, and yeah, really comfortable place. And I'm glad I found that because I've got 3 weeks left. But anyway, I brought this up with him, and he said it's also the factories and that they are aware that it's dangerous and poisonous and toxic, and I have to say it must be 100% cancerous, without the expertise, which I don't think is a prerequisite when you literally have the most pungent chemical smell being wafted in your face. So that's the only letdown thus far, because I love this part of China. China's great. It's a perfect time to visit. The best time probably for many, 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 many decades. It's at that point of transition where everything's still very affordable, the standards are super high. There hasn't been an exodus yet, both outward and inward. Thankfully, no sort of migrants en masse. Unfortunately, they are coming in from the sort of undesirable places in the world, and they will inevitably ruin it, like they've done with Japan and Europe. But now it's a perfect time to come. So that's the first part of the story. Also found out that I knew there was a few things in the area, like canyons and stuff, but apparently there's a really famous mountain road, which, don't get confused with the famous Xinjiang Desert Road, which is a new construction that a lot of people come to visit. Apparently there's literally at the start of where I'm staying is the road that goes up to the mountains over part of the Tian Shan, which of course goes all the way into Kyrgyzstan and Tajikistan. And apparently it's only just opened, so tourists come to drive that, which is a great bonus because, again, 3 weeks left, so I'll be visiting that for sure. I did want to say some other stuff, I guess, with the food. Yeah, so I just went to the supermarket on the way back and got all of this, which came to $21, £16. Yeah, again, I've already said I'm stopped shopping at the Whole Foods of China, so I'm being a bit lazy, but at least the produce is good. And this is basically, every video I make is a day's food. So yeah, it's not very cheap for me to be doing this when a restaurant meal is £1 and I've got 16 times a giant plate of food, which probably isn't even enough calories for one day. But as you can see, it's healthy stuff. So there we go. And on this point, yeah, this is, so the top is all sewed into place. And I was just sort of working out where to place the other ones. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the Turkish one. The Northern Cyprus flag here is also the same circular shape, but I'm not really a fan of circles for what I want with this. I kind of want the right angle vibe, so I'm going to incorporate that into there. Nice little thing to do on the side. I'm glad I found the coffee shop because I've downloaded like 24 books, so I'll be venturing through those over the coming couple of weeks. And I think that's pretty much it. I'll leave it short. I think I wanted to say something else. Yeah, that was it. So 35 degrees today, absolutely baking. And next week it goes down to 15. So in the space of a week, the temperature has over doubled, which is absolutely insane. This region, south of the Altai, in both Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, and China, is incredible for temperature changes. I mean, Karakol, where I used to live, is not so far. And I remember saying to people, I was there at points last month, so April, but a few years back, when it was negative 12 to 15 degrees centigrade. And we've just been there, me and some friends, and I think it was, what, plus 10? You know, ridiculous. So, yeah, the temperature change, the fluctuations are unbelievable. But in a way, it's sort of nice, I guess, if you look on the positive flip side, that you can sort of, you know, play it by ear and then adjust your sort of ventures if you're here for long enough in accordance to that change, because you're going to get some great weather like today. If you're into like 35 plus blue skies, now's the time to go up to the mountains where it's a bit cooler and have like those scenic views. And then, of course, when it goes down to 16, you can sort of venture around and do other things that are perhaps a little bit off the cards when it's this baking. So, yeah, obviously there's a benefit, there's a plus to everything. I'll leave it there.